a man who hasn't had a dry January since 1979. Adam Carolla.
Yeah, get it on. Got to get it on. No choice but get it on. Mandate you get it on. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for telling a friend. We love that about you, right, Gina Grad? Gina's...
Must have been traffic on the way to the bedroom.
Yeah, she's going to be popping in any second. To be fair to her, we started a minute and a half early. And Bald Brian.
Eat dirt and die, trash.
So we're going to hypnotize Gina today. I think we're going to hypnotize Dawson today. We got a smoking thing. We also got, I don't know what Gina bites her nails.
Oh, hypnotize them into quitting a bad habit. Interesting.
Yes.
I thought I got like bad cluck like a chicken.
No, but our guest, Chris Jones, is the hypnotist who was on America's Got Talent. We got that clip. Good day, Gina Grad. Mm-hmm. Can you hear you?
Good day to you.
Yeah, we started a little early. Good to see you. We're going to hypnotize you today.
Great.
The clip we have was, I think they did Howie Mandel on America's Got Talent. I seem to remember it when it happened. And they convinced him, at least Chris, the hypnotist, did, that everyone was wearing latex gloves. Uh-huh. And then he went and shook hands with everyone who was gloveless. And then he went into therapy. After.
What have I done?
But, you know, if you're already in therapy, someone can't send you to therapy. Maybe they sent you to more therapy.
Oh, interesting. They double down?
Twice a week.
Yeah. So, it was from a while back. It was from 2015. All right, we'll play this clip for you of Chris up on stage. Now, he must have got with Howie beforehand and hypnotized him. I don't think he could do it up on stage.
So he got with Howie beforehand. You'll see it. So they talked a little bit about, first, Howie shook Chris's hand. Mm-hmm. And then he came out of it, and Howard Stern was like, you just shook his hand without a glove, or without any gloves, and he couldn't believe it. And then Chris went on to do this.
Shaking everyone's hands.
And while he's shaking everyone's hand, Howie's just like, why is everyone laughing right now? He's just so
the big question is, why is Heidi Klum screaming in my face?
Yeah, Heidi...
Sounds like a fever dream.
I don't know if there's a show called America's Most Annoying, but I have Heidi Klum up there on that. I don't know why she annoys the shit out of me. I've never met her, but she just annoys the shit out of me.
More annoying to you, Heidi Klum or Tyra Banks?
Ooh. Supermodel conundrum.
I'll go Heidi Klum because I feel like she's got a little of that Charo in her, and that she uses the accent, the coochie coochie coo thing. I think she plays it up a little bit.
Much like Homer Simpson having the crayon removed so he could fit into society and like enjoy all the dumb people stuff.
From his brain or from his nasal cavity.
Yeah, up the nose into the brain. Mm-hmm. Would you want the hypnotist hypnotize you to like enjoy Maneater or to find Heidi Klum delightful just so you can like fit into society and not be tortured?
Yeah, maybe. Although, you know, again, it's sort of like when my kids were always like, stop talking, Daddy. I'm like, I stop talking, this all goes away.
Oh, that's a good point. So, yes, your annoyance at Heidi Klum is part of what makes the engine go.
I stop being annoyed. It's all over. I go back to roofing. So, and also, I don't know. We should
talk. Tucker Carlson, like, everything's great. Biden's a good guy. Good. I got no problem with Kamala.
I love everybody. Live and let live. Yeah, the annoying is the engine that drives the success.
The curse is the gift.
The curse is the gift. Now, the other thing is I was thinking about. I don't think I can be hypnotized because I have hypervigilance, and I just notice everything all the time, and so I never, I'm the guy who, my hypervigilance is like, I can't just sleep at night. I have to have the ceiling fan. I need some white noise. I need something. And years ago, before they had apps and smartphones and stuff, I just went down to the Sharper Image and I bought one of those noise machines. Mm-hmm. And you can do rain, or you can do the babbling brook or whatever. And that all seemed fine. But I realized it would repeat itself every 18 seconds. So even the sound of the rain, you could hear it. It wouldn't cut off. It's just the same pattern. Yeah. And then I started timing the pattern in my head.
Oh
and
my
then
God.
I was staring at the ceiling.
5 a.m.
Because I was picking the pattern out in the white noise machine, which was supposed to relax me.
You are a tortured soul.
I'm just a pattern. I'm a kind of a math pattern person who's just studies the patterns in everything. And so if you study the pattern in everything, you'll see it. You'll start finding it everywhere.
Right.
And then you'll start noticing it, and then you'll actually start seeing things before other people see things, and then you'll be burned at the stake as a heretic. Because we built a society where if you notice shit like, well, maybe the Earth revolves around the sun, not the sun revolves around the Earth. If you notice shit early on, people just go, you're a heretic, you're a lunatic.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think about your beach wave analogy a lot, which is you either want to be on the beach where it's nice, there's no water at all, or out past the breakers where you can just swim and bob, not getting pounded by the surf. You're in the worst place where the rest of us can just enjoy white noise or whatever and not notice these patterns. Or you could be the fucking Rain Man and make millions of dollars off counting cards, playing poker, but you're right in the middle where
I'm
you're
being
just
pounded by the surf.
just getting bothered by sound machines.
Yeah.
Try and sleep.
I know it was, I brought it up before, but it was pointed out to me by Dr. Drew during one of our many conversations off the air when I was going nuts about COVID and where the ages, I want the ages, how come I'm not hearing the ages? He went, you're a pattern noticer. You notice patterns. And if something then deviates from a pattern, then it jumps out at you. So everyone else was just hearing a man died in Arleta of COVID. And I was like, an 83-year-old man, where's the age? Where's the age? And it was glaring to me. Like I wasn't, where is the age? Because I'm so pattern oriented and I've heard the news and I always heard the age, and that's my pattern that I've established. But it's how you can predict everyone's behavior. As soon as you see something, people have patterns, people deviate from patterns, and when they deviate from patterns, something is motivating them, and that's how you know what the pattern is. If you have a roommate who's a slob and you're always arguing over who's doing the dishes or whatever, and you wake up one day and the kitchen is pristine and the roommate goes, I got up early just to clean the kitchen. Then you go, why? Because there's a pattern.
Mom's in
and
town.
then they
borrow money.
Start checking the room for meth.
They don't say mom's in town. They go, oh, just because. And then you go, no, that's not, just because not good enough for a pattern person. And then at some point later on in the day, they'll go, hey, I was wondering, I got to pick up a friend from an airport. Could I borrow your car because they have a lot of, and you go, oh, all right, pattern. And then you go, oh, that's why you clean it. And then they get really defensive. They go, no, I didn't. I don't know if they know it or not, but when you see the pattern break,
They don't like it pointed out.
It was like
no one likes it pointed out.
Well, it's like when years ago when my dad was like, where are you where were you playing around town? You playing the Portola Theater, the El Portal Theater? And I was like, yeah. He said, what time's that show? I'm like,
the rare question of
8 o'clock Saturday. So you're doing a show? That's this Saturday at the El Portal. I'm like, all right, now pattern broke. The big time pattern breaking. Now, it shouldn't be a pattern break for most dads or most parents, but because I've studied his pattern, something is broken. And I want to know what's up. And then 10 seconds later, it's like, maybe I'll bring my horn down there and play for the audience. Like, all right, now we're back. Now we're back. You have a pattern. It doesn't have to be a weird pattern. It could just be a pattern of disinterested is a pattern. You know what I mean? But he broke it by wanting to know what time the show was and where it was at.
He showed interest.
He showed interest. That was his pattern break. And I was, and by the way, at that point in time, I know unequivocally that he wants something. It's never going to be just because, and then we'll talk about my sister. There's going to be something, and it's because he wanted to play. Now, the whole thing about people who do that, you have to realize that's going to arouse suspicion in the person who studies the pattern.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know that there's a lot of pattern study.
No, you get away with that most of the time.
I guess so. We have a follow-up to Dick Van Patten beating the shit out of Rue McClanahan on the Love Boat.
Thank
Not
God.
again.
I did my homework last night and watched the second half of the Love Boat episode where Dick Van Patten was being physically
If
abusive
he's not
to Rue
escorted
McClanahan.
onto a dinghy in handcuffs, I don't want to know.
No,
Elected mayor.
no, he's learned a lesson.
Okay.
Here it is.
You didn't know if you loved me anymore. You tore me out inside. I don't know how you stayed with me as long as you did, but I do know that I've got to have you in my future.
If the future is going to be anything like the past, George, I don't want any part of it.
I'll get help, I promise. Just stay with me, please.
I really don't think I should.
It might be best for both of you to stay apart for a while.
But Laura, I need you.
She can stay in
I
my
have
cabin.
needs too. Peace, security, freedom from fear in my own home. Basic needs. I just can't go on like this.
Hold on. Have you guys ever had Have you guys ever really had an intimate conversation with a captain standing right next to you?
Rarely.
Yeah, very few. Very.
I don't feel like I could really be as honest and sincere as I wanted to be if a uniformed captain just stood directly in between me and the lady I was speaking to. It would bump me. But I'm a pattern guy. I don't know if it would
Right.
bother you guys.
Quick question on that front, as being someone who has seen so much Love Boat. Has there ever been a scene of the captain driving the boat?
No,
He
once
doesn't know where it is.
once in a while they'll need the storyline where Gopher's interrupting him. In that case, he'll be in the wheelhouse looking at charts, and Gopher will like, hey, about the Halloween costume party. Can't you see I'm busy? So if they need it, they'll use it. But he spends most his time on the Lido deck, counseling passengers who are the subject of domestic abuse. Sometimes he'll go into the Pirates Cove and have a drink with Isaac if they need to have a heart-to-heart. But he doesn't spend a lot of time skippering the
Navigating.
ship. Although if anyone ever gets in his grill, he'll explain that he's the skipper, he has duties in the passenger safety, but it's mainly just him at the captain's table entertaining Lola Falana. Or again, standing at the railing. That's where the truth comes out. I'm telling everyone, go to the railing and stand there.
Yeah.
You will get the answer you want from your significant partner when they come up to the railing. Sometimes they can be in love with you. Other times they'll be sorry. Other times they'll seek help for their abusive problems. Do we have a little more?
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry.
There's a little more.
Hand on the arm. Oh, no. Tail to his legs.
Dick's
George.
walking away.
If you ever find that man I used to love, I'll be waiting.
Now, by 1979 standards or whatever this is a sweet, heartfelt scene. But by today, what we know today, this is a codependent relationship, a cycle of abuse. He's only saying these things to get back in good graces, and the backhand is coming shortly.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Brian. What I was just going to say was, I'm sorry if this is considered the second wave women's lib, like, amazing scene, but that was horse shit.
Yeah.
I love you. I love myself too, though. But if you ever find the guy that doesn't beat me in a bathroom, give me a call.
Also,
Come
this is
on.
a couple in their late 50s. Presumably,
pattern
this
is
has been going on for
established.
25 years now.
Yeah.
And I feel like even if I was a wife beater, I would give it a rest on a 3-day cruise. You know what I mean? Like
That's the
there's
moratorium.
like I like
For your own good.
I like cars.
public.
I like working on cars. But on that 3-day cruise, I'd probably just focus on having a Mai Tai and enjoying the live entertainment.
Take a dip
you know what
here
I mean?
and there.
Yeah, because this guy's beating her mid-cruise.
Well, prior to getting on.
Yeah, beat her prior
You know
to
the cruise is coming.
He beat her prior to getting on, and then he beat her mid cruise as well because his business deal didn't go through. So, and I think at the end, Chris, when they're getting off the ship, that's when he's explaining.
There's more?
He's getting, well, they have to, when they're getting off the ship, they have to explain, they have to leave on terms that the audience can understand.
Oh,
so
yeah.
And what might those be?
She is going to stay with her sister or her aunt or something like that, and then he is going to get some help,
gonna
and
work on
then
him.
they are going to be reunited.
I love it.
That's how it works. You have to forgive.
I wouldn't go anywhere if my Jen had a black eye. I wouldn't even go out in public.
No, I agree, and
Regardless
also
of how she got it.
She had a real cartoon shiner, but they also couldn't a little foundation cover that up, Gina?
It's called cover up for a reason.
Yeah.
It's funny. Chris makes a good point, and Gina knows it's doubly awkward when it's the kid, because kids get bruises all over from climbing shit and wrestling, and all of a sudden you're walking around with your daughter in a dress. Tessa's legs are covered in bruises. It's not me. It's not me. Climbs a jumble shouldn't at school.
Well,
I feel like you're protesting a little too much.
Exactly.
He went with the hard right and gave her a big shiner on the left eye, and then he went left hand and tried to give her a shiner on the other eye in the cabin. Now your wife's walking around looking like a raccoon.
We've established that he's a lefty. Did he give her a backhand?
On the
on this one here.
On the first one.
Yeah.
I'd like to think he did.
Because we have video evidence of him going roundhouse.
He went roundhouse with the left, so he probably went backhand.
Oh.
All right, this is her getting off the ship now.
The black guy looks
Wonderful,
worse.
caring human being.
Does.
So you are. And you deserve what every human being deserves. Love.
No.
With respect, dignity. Don't settle for less.
I won't.
Oh, I think you missed Dick.
Oh, yeah, we put that up just to show the black eye.
Oh, okay. Yeah, she's a real shiner.
I did love how Stubing adopted a mid-Atlantic accent for the heartfelt scene.
Mm-hmm.
It was very, very British.
You deserve the best.
Dignity, respect.
And okay, so the other policy I'd have if I was, showing my pimp hand to my lady, is, look, if you're going to wear the sunglasses indoors, by all means. But don't take them off as soon as you got right in front of the person you're talking to.
That accentuates the
Not
problem.
only you're defeating the purpose of the sunglasses, you're actually calling attention now to the beating I've given you.
That's right.
Here they are leaving the ship.
Come see us again.
Why, Captain? George?
Laura will be staying with her sister until I can deal with my problem. I'll be waiting inside.
All right, so it's hopeful now.
That's a man.
Wow.
Dick Van Patten had one of the, world class. He's a Mount Rushmore comb-over guy from back in the day. And we all know the comb-over guys, which is it was a crazy conceit. And Brian, one more reason it's good that you're the age you're at.
It's my era, man.
We were so freaked out with male pattern baldness back then that you had to grow out one side of your hair to be 9 inches long and then flop it over the bald spot and start the part a quarter inch above your right ear
Where
and
the
then just
headphones
comb
would go.
the whole thing over, which is just, first off, it seemed insane. Secondly,
who are you fooling?
You're not fooling anyone.
With the black eye, you're drawing attention.
But you realize, Brian, that hair was such a premium back in the 80s, 70s, and 80s that you would rather have the world's worst hair than a bald head.
Yeah. No, you're
because
right.
it was some hair.
Yeah, it made you. I made the point on here before. You look like the buffoon or the evil, an evil person or some sort of incompetent nincompoop.
Right. So he had a world class comb over, But I was watching some old clips of Johnny Carson. I grabbed a picture of it, or Chris did, to show. People forget about Johnny Carson, big time comb over, and crazy weird comb over from the 80s where the gray combed over
The colored
and
was
sat
left of
on
the color.
sat on top of. We're looking at a picture of it now. It is Brian. Describe that for us.
I am having trouble deciding if that is a very small rug on top, but either way, it is the color of dried tree bark, and the very gray hair swishes over like a silver streak.
Could you imagine?
It's like
a skunk
there's
stripe.
a tuft. There's a dark tuft poking out at the top,
Yeah.
at the front.
It's weird, right?
It's
Yes.
extremely weird.
And look, nobody had more money and more professionals to throw at this problem than Johnny Carson.
That's the best they could do.
That's the best they could do. There must have been a guy who was like the comb-over specialist, though, right? I mean,
Yeah.
there had to be like the hair whisperer. You know what I mean? It's like, look, you let the right side of your head grow out for 4 years. And
I
then
can do
call me,
something.
and then I can do something, and I can position. Now, look, if it's a pool party or wind kicks up, I
on
don't
you.
cover that. That's force majeure. That's an act of God.
You keep that shit dry.
Imagine what these guys look like getting out of the shower.
Ew.
And imagine if you're one of their lady friends and you spent the
Oh,
night
boy.
for the
morning.
first night, Gina.
No, thanks.
All right.
And Kojak was kicking ass, and Yul Brenner was kicking ass. Like that.
Yeah.
They were leading the way.
It was okay.
I know I maybe blame James Bond, where the villains had
Yeah.
the weird bald head. the
Played once by
henchmen-
Telly Savalas.
Yeah, the henchmen had bald heads.
It's true.
It was a weird thing to be bald back then. But now, again, it's a real sign of progress. You wear whatever hair God gives you.
Right.
Could be a fro, could hang down, could shave it off clean, could have the stubble, whatever works, you may do. All right, I was for some reason when I was looking at the Love Boat, I don't know how, but I stumbled onto Arthur Ashe.
Oh.
Arthur
yeah.
Ashe, the tennis player.
Tennis.
First, well, I don't know if he was the first, but most prolific black tennis player of the 70s, later 60s, mid 70s. Kind of the Tiger Woods of tennis.
He was the first, yes.
It was the first. And then I thought, oh, yeah. And all I had was the recollection that Arthur Ashe died young. That's all
Died of AIDS.
I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you
And
remember that?
I had a vague recollection that he died young, and that's about all I had. And the AIDS thing sounded familiar, but I was like, the story was, or go ahead, Dawson.
Arthur Ashe was born in Richmond, Virginia in 1943 into a family that claimed direct descent from Amar, a West African woman who was enslaved and brought to America in 1735. The Ashe family members were owned, by North Carolina Governor Samuel Ashe.
Jesus.
Oh, that's where he got it.
They were raised by their father, who worked as a handyman, special policeman for Richmond's recreation department. Arthur Ashe Sr. was a strict disciplinarian, encouraged his son to excel in school and sports, but forbade him to play football.
Yeah, I tried that thing where you encourage your kid to excel in sports and school. I gave it up.
One of them is.
They didn't even pick one.
I'm 0 for 2 with the boy.
Yeah.
The Ashes lived in the caretaker's cottage in the grounds of an 18-acre Brookfield Park.
Well, wait a second, Dawson. They got a lot of mileage Arthur Ashe did out of being forbidden to play sports. And he became a world-class tennis player. Maybe you got to start forbidding Sonny to,
Wow.
to
How do you,
excel.
what, did you see a doc?
I just heard Dawson say it.
Oh, sorry. Oh, but
Well,
he
he
said
was
he got a
forbidden
lot
to
of
play
mileage.
football. He was encouraged to play sports.
Oh, I missed that. Sorry about that. I thought I was discouraged from playing sports.
By the way, I just finished an audiobook on signature shoes, and there's a big piece on Arthur Ashe.
Oh, shit.
Really?
Yeah. He had some. I think they still make them. Let's see. He went to school. No. Sorry. Began practicing on the courts where his natural talent was spotted by Virginia Union University student and part-time Brookfield tennis instructor Ron Charity, who was the best black tennis player in Richmond at the time. So he began to teach him. After graduating with a bachelor's degree in business administration, Ashe joined the Army.
Well, you can just skip down to, I don't know, 3 major Grand Slams or whatever titles, and how he died, which I knew he died of AIDS, but I forgot about.
He went on to win 3 Grand Slam singles titles, first black player selected to the United States Davis Cup team, and the only black man ever to win the singles title at Wimbledon, the U.S. Open, and the Australian Open. Wow. After his retirement, he commentated for ABC Sports and HBO, and in July of 79, at the age of 36, suffered a heart attack while holding a tennis clinic in New York.
First off, everyone always wants to know why did this person, what happened? This guy was, his BMI was off the charts in a good way. I mean, he was a slender, healthy guy who just played tennis 9 hours a day.
World-class athlete.
Has a heart attack at 36. Yeah. You know what I mean? So everyone's like, I think he ate too many hard-boiled eggs in his teens. It's like, no.
They're saying that he brought to light the hereditary heart conditions.
I would say that when you are a world-class athlete and have a heart attack at 36, that's probably in your genes.
His mom died at 27 from a heart attack.
Oh,
or cardiovascular disease. So they did a quadruple bypass on him. And it doesn't specifically say, but I do know that he got AIDS through a blood transfusion during a surgery.
Yeah, that's in what I read.
On February 6, 1993, Ashe died from AIDS-related pneumonia at a New York hospital at the age of 49. Over 6,000 attended his
40, I never saw his
funeral.
50th birthday.
Sad.
Crazy. But, AIDS, you kind of thought, AIDS weren't we done with it by the mid or 90s or whatever? But
Dude,
no, we were not.
I was probably in 8th grade. Gina, you're a fair amount younger than me, but I remember this very well because this was anyone can get anyone. You know what I mean? It wasn't just the gay disease, the drug users, whatever. It was Arthur Ashe with AIDS. It was a big deal when I was in 8th-ish grade.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't know there was writing on the back. It does say that in September 1988, Ashe was hospitalized after experiencing paralysis in his right arm. Underwent surgery there, and then that's where he was infected with HIV.
Yeah.
Brutal.
Well, we were good and freaked out when we were little in elementary school because that's when they wanted to tell us all about Ryan White and how even kids our age can get AIDS by accident.
I know.
God, what a time to be in high school and
I'm
college.
telling you, pre-AIDS, mid-coke. Studio 54. That's where you want to spend your formative years, not right in the middle of AIDS, where you think you can get it from shaking someone's hand and everyone is having to get tests and you couldn't have sex with anybody. I mean, that's not where you want to have your formative sex years. All right. So anyway, for some reason, I got on Arthur Ashe. I thought it was an interesting story, and I knew he died of AIDS. I forgot it was the transfusion thing, and all right, we'll head toward a break. First, I'll tell you about the ultimate ears. Well, you use tech. You rely on it. You rely on your devices every day. But what about the ears? No two are exactly alike. So that's where your earbuds can probably cause you a little discomfort or pain. UE Fits true wireless custom fit earbuds from Ultimate Ears. Premium sound, all-day comfort. It's beautiful. You get a custom earbud and you do it yourself, and it's a perfect fit, and it only takes 60 seconds. Guys, when I used to do TV, I got an IFB thing, and I have to have a tech come down and make a mold of your ear and everything. It was a whole process. Now you can just do it at home in minutes. 8 hours of continuous playback on a single charge, up to 20 hours with the charging case. And if you try them and you don't love them as much as we do, then you get a 30-day money-back guarantee, plus free shipping, free returns, and a 1-year warranty. Right, Dawson?
I have to do it in post. Got the old copy.
Oh, okay. All right. Set up our next guest, Max Zapata.
All right. So remember a couple months ago when I told you how my wedding, the guy took our money and ran, and everyone else's money and ran, and nobody was able to get married, and we had to kind of start from scratch.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so Tracy and Danny over at the Lautner compound heard the story, and they graciously offered a wedding venue, and I was talking to them, and the place is really cool. It's very mid-century modern, based off of John Lautner's architecture. And then Danny's also an incredible painter who did the latest In and Out shirt and has worked with Disney and DreamWorks and things like that. So figured let's talk to him and I'll thank him.
And we'll talk some the Lautner architecture stuff is really amazing. You guys have seen the houses. I don't know. Can you put a few of those up?
I'll have to look and see.
I think one of them was where they shot the Charlie's Angels movie, and
oh boy,
where Sam Rockwell lived.
I think there's a few in Palm Springs. I guess there's a few scattered out around Los Angeles. MexPat will find those. We'll share those with you.
The ultimate in, clean design, that clean, beautiful design.
Yeah, like the Jetsons' house was modeled after
right.
one of them. I love all that mid-century modern sort of cool architecture.
Oh yeah, that's effectively Sam Rockwell's lair in Charlie's Angels.
Yeah, just goddamn awesome. All right, so we'll talk to Tracy and Danny right after this.
And now, a totally innocuous word that sounds dirty when Mike Dawson says it.
Wet.
Ew. Let's get back to the Adam Carolla Show.
Tracy Beckman and Danny Heller have joined us, and I'll throw out the website, thelautner.com, and DannyHellerArt.com as well. Danny's a fine artist, and Tracy's a designer, renovator. Brag about yourself a little bit.
Interior designer by trade, but now wedding guru, I guess. That's how I found Chris and Jen.
Wedding messiah, really.
Oh, thank you, honey.
Yeah.
So the facilities in Palm Springs?
Outside of Palm Springs. It's technically Desert Hot Springs, but it's about a 15-minute drive away.
Do we have a date, Chris? Did you send that out?
Yeah,
he did.
This
is awkward.
You got it. Matt Fondeler's handling it.
Well, yeah, I don't think I'm available. Is it a weekday?
You're available.
Or a
I made
weekend?
sure.
Both. It's a Friday.
Oh, okay. All right. So when is
Friday
that?
wedding. Is that a bad
it?
sign? Do you hear that about it?
No, Friday's a new Saturday.
It's in April.
It's in April?
Thanks, Gina.
Yeah. All right.
Yep.
Hi, Gina.
I don't open a lot of conventional mail these days because it's got all the COVID on it. You know what I mean? I have my handlers deal with that.
Yeah.
So, Danny, you do fine art?
Yeah, I'm a kind of a photorealistic painter, traditional oil on canvas kind of a deal, showing galleries internationally now.
And is it true you did sort of the iconic In and Out burger shirt that everyone sees out here?
Yeah. Being a SoCal guy, always going to In and Out Burger, you walk in there, you see some of the old prints, and then you see people walking around with shirts. And, I always thought, how cool would it be to get a crack at, designing one of those, doing the artwork. Yeah. And it just, fate had it and made it happen this year. And I guess they're selling like hotcakes from what I hear.
Sorry if I may, how does the deal happen? How do you approach them? Do they approach you? Blah, blah, blah.
It's weird because a lot of times, I try to go after things, but fortunately, and oddly enough, maybe I was thinking about it, and then I just got an email one day, and they approached me, and I think they had kind of a short list of artists, and I think they found my work just through the internet, and they said, here's the deal, this is what the layout is, and
that's great.
And I said, yeah, absolutely, let's do it.
Well, in the In and Out.
Sorry, I don't want to.
Yeah.
I have to ask because we're looking at some pictures on the screen. I don't want to sound like a dum-dum, but just so we're clear, we are not looking at photographs, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Those
are all just oil paintings. I go out and I scout and I do artwork from
that's pretty
the oil
great.
paintings. Thank you.
That's mind blowing.
Thank you. Yeah, and I show in New York as well, so that's been kind of cool to do like the East Coast equivalent of the West Coast stuff. But it's funny because actually I met Tracy. I met my wife while scouting her Lautner location to do artwork of it.
So let's talk about Lautner as an architect.
So John Lautner is the most famous protege of Frank Lloyd Wright. He followed him from the East Coast to the West Coast, the School of Architecture, Taliesin West. And my little Lautner compound is like a mini homage to Taliesin West. It has a lot of the same features and lines as Taliesin. And it's just a really beautiful place. I found it in 2008, completely derelict and destroyed.
Wow.
I sent some pictures to Chris. And it was a real teardown. People told me I was crazy, that nobody would come to Desert Hot Springs to visit this Lautner. But I said, F you, I'm doing it. And people come from around the world now just to touch it.
Was it built as a home, as a
very
event space?
famous movie producer in 1947 bought 300 acres. He asked Lautner to come. They built it together. It was very space age, very googie, cutting edge technology. It's reminiscent of like that cool Chevron in Beverly Hills with that pitched roof.
Yes,
all
of
those
course.
iconic pitched roofs.
Of course, yeah.
So it was going to be a master plan community where the Hollywood elite would come and sit in the sun and
Did it
soak up.
materialize?
No, the prototype I own is all that's left. There was supposed to be swimming pools, spas, restaurants, retail. The guy had a vision, like the Grove, in LA, but it didn't come to fruition. It sat derelict. I'm the 5th owner. When I found it, it was just so sad. But it took about a year a room, another year for the exterior. We did all the work on our own. You'd be very proud, Adam. We hired only master electricians, master plumbers, but for the most part.
Sure, that's what they said.
We renovated. I mean, we took it down to nothing and rebuilt her, and we're very proud of what we did.
Well, it's really nice that we're in an era, whether it's architecture or cars, where there's now value in this stuff, because there's so many of these stories. I mean, not to do with architecture or automobiles, but people are doing the same thing. They're just digging out these old automobiles that are just rusted husks, but they realize there's value in it because what it once was. And like I said, they taped over the first Super Bowl because they needed the tape. So we didn't have that mindset, but with all the memorabilia and the Jordan shoes selling for what, we figured out, hey, this stuff has some value, which is great for the people that own it, but it's great for those who come after us because this thing would have been torn down if you didn't get
it was a total teardown. There's so many Lautners that have been destroyed. I mean,
really?
So many master architects, their work just get dilapidated and people just it's easier to build new. And they want, the new McMansion.
Well, and also, sorry if I interrupt, in a place like, LA and just the West Coast in general, where the emphasis is new and redefining yourself and reinventing yourself, it's like most of this architecture never stood a chance. Like they want to wipe it all away. And, maybe not all of it, but most of it's worth kind of keeping. There's certainly lessons to be learned.
Well, a lot of it, too, is a sort of a zeitgeist, mental of our society at large. You guys are a little younger, but I always talk to Dr. Drew about this, and what they hated the most, like if you're around in the 70s, is anything that was old.
Yeah.
Right.
So old, hardwood floors and vaulted ceilings stuff. No, get some cottage cheese and spray it
Formica.
wall-to-wall shag, and we got to get some avocado-colored appliances in here. And it was like, old was bad.
Yeah.
Now old is kind of cool, but anything old in certain eras, 70s into the 80s, was just shit. No one wanted it.
I imagine there's an art to making it look and feel old, classic, I would say, but I'll have the functionality of modern, the windows to keep the heat out and Wi-Fi, and we'll fill in the blank or
That's
whatever.
what my guests say when they stay with me at the Lautner, is that it doesn't feel designed. It feels real. It feels like how it should be.
Nice.
And that to me is the biggest compliment.
Ignorant question. We're looking at some bitchin' photographs of really cool design. Is the Lautner currently like a hotel? Like, can you stay there?
I call it a hybrid between vacation rental, boutique hotel.
Because I'm not sure what I'm looking at. It's awesome, but I don't know
I've designed hotels for companies before, so it's got all the amenities you want of a hotel, but it really is just an Airbnb per se. It's a home away from home.
Okay.
So I give you a secret code. It's like a speakeasy. There's not even a sign on the door. There's my logo.
Ooh.
You get the code. You let yourself in. There's no one to bother you. So for COVID, it's
is this
excellent.
a single?
Four studio
okay,
apartments.
that's what it looked like to me. Okay.
They're like Lego pieces that interlock to each other. So the back of your room is the headboard of the other. So it's so small, it's so sweet, but we became so successful that everybody wanted to have a party, a fashion show, a launch, anything. So it came with a dirt lot, 10,000 square feet of dirt. So I just had a crazy idea one day. I can make money on dirt. So I put a wall around it. My first party was 300 people, $20,000 later. And I thought, I'm on to something. And every summer we close. It's too hot to have weddings or events. It's 120. But I work. So I get a crew of guys out there and we build every summer and keep expanding. So now we call it the Lautner compound. We own the end of the block. So there's our house, Danny and I, we share, the Lautner, the park, and the ranch house. So Chris and Jen are going to get married in my 10,000 square foot park. It's all outside, very safe. But Jen has a beautiful bridal suite in my ranch house, and Chris is going to have a badass Lautner room of his own. So it really is a total experience. It's all inclusive as far as what I give you. You bring the wedding to me, but I spoil you with everything I have.
That's the best, is not being contractually obligated to, do this person or that company or whatever.
I like to have people to have. I like choices in my life. I like to guide people to the right choice.
Like these guys do good work.
Exactly, but I don't force.
So you're like a really fabulous roadhouse.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, I call it
like
on
the website.
It kind of is. We're not for Kim Kardashian types. We're more wild at heart, more free spirited. I call it the Echo Park of Palm Springs. Before Echo Park was $4 million.
Sorry, I'm out.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's not the most desirable neighborhood. Although cool kids are coming in and we're buying everything because we could.
Smart.
So that's how I got the end of the block. But people are following suit, especially after COVID. Our real estate's going through the. It won't be the same town. There's traffic in my town.
I think we're the fastest growing town in all the Coachella Valley.
It's still so untouched. It's not overpicked like Palm Springs. There actually is property that you could build.
Amazing.
There's views are gorgeous. A little bit of wind at times, but you know what? For the most part, it's a little slice of heaven.
Yeah,
how do you do your summer outdoor work you were talking about? Do you start it? You work like they work in Vegas?
A lot of water.
Start early, take breaks in the day, and then work at night. So because we're kind of guerrilla style, how we do things kind of makes sense for us.
Haven't gotten heat stroke yet. So.
No, we're okay.
Yeah, somebody invented it's so weird. We were talking earlier in the week about how when they played the Ice Bowl in 1967, they didn't have undershirts they could wear or gloves they could wear. It's like nothing existed. Now, when I used to work construction during the dog days of summer, if you had to dig a ditch out in the yard, you just toughed it out. You just sucked it up. Well, now they pitch all these little shade tents.
We don't have shade tents.
You got to get a shade. You go down to Home Depot for $89. You pitch that, and then if you have to dig up the sewer line, you can do it in shade and not be destroyed by the sun.
Well, the minute I met Danny, I put him to work. There's pictures of him holding a paint sprayer. I'm on the roof painting, steel beams.
It does just work. It does help when there's a swimming pool like 50 feet away, and you just jump in and work in your.
We drink a lot of water.
Yeah.
A lot of water.
Yeah.
I'm reading here that Courtney Cox sold her Lautner Malibu property for $33.5 million bucks. Can I say this about the celebs? Everyone always talks about them getting paid $20 million for a picture or something. The real way those guys amass their fortunes is they buy real estate all over L.A., Malibu. I mean, these, Leonardo DiCaprio buys his house for 4.2, sells it for 10.7, like 9 years later. Like the real cash is these guys all buy, Courtney's place in Malibu. I don't know what she spent. $11 million or something. It's 33.
That's retirement investment.
Now,
I'm waiting for the Lautner offer. I'll take 7.
What is
I won't
that?
take the 40. I'll take 7.
What is that house that Courtney did? Did she? And I don't know when she sold it.
She got it when she was married to David Arquette. So they bought it together. But yeah, they sold it for $33.5 in Malibu. Wow. There's a place in Malibu.
One of my taglines at the Lautner is you don't have to have a celebrity friend to stay at a Lautner. You've got me. And I'm only $350 a night.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, the cool thing is that this is the only Lautner designed property that's really open to the public, because he did all these crazy homes like you were mentioning, the Diamonds Are Forever finale scene, top
in
of
Palm
the mountain
Springs?
Yeah, that's the Arthur Ashe home.
Bob Hope House in Palm Springs, the Chemisphere out here, and just all these like crazy bajillion-dollar homes. But
You can't get in
unless you know DiCaprio or something. You probably can't get in.
Mm. And the best Lautner home, in my opinion, is the one from the Big Lebowski. Jackie Treehorn, the porn producer.
Oh, that was
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's probably one of the most kind of famous locally.
Where is that?
That one's up in the hills, and the owner just gifted it to LACMA.
Oh, really?
So now it's going to be kept forever so people could experience it. It won't go to a private owner anymore. Jimmy Goldstein, coolest guy. I had my Christmas party there once. It's awesome.
So it'll have that sort of Hearst Castle tour it sort of vibe.
It will not be closed. Doors will always be open. The guy's an amazing ambassador of Lautner.
Architecture's a weird thing. I'm totally into it, and I know so many people that don't give two shits about it. And I guess it's the same people. Once you run into those people that are like, I don't really like food that much. Right. Like, I'll eat, but it doesn't really matter what I eat. And you're like, who are you?
Yeah.
Where do you come from? Yeah. And I feel that way about architecture. Yeah. There's so many people just don't give a shit about architecture. Yeah. I'm like, why aren't you in love with this? It's everything that's good about humanity. Yeah. Like Al-Qaeda's everything that's wrong with humanity, and architecture's everything that's right with humanity.
That's the house there on your screen. That's like going to church to me.
Oh. Yeah.
That moves me more than anything in the whole world.
Because the thing about architecture, the architecture's fine, and then there's the execution. Mm-hmm. And the thing about the cooler the architecture, oftentimes the more difficult the execution is, because you go, I want this house, I want it to cantilever off the side of this hill, but I don't want a bunch of posts and pylons. I just want one. I want it to be like a pedestal. I just want one in the middle. I want it to look like it's hovering. Like, well, all that shit's really hard to pull off from an engineering standpoint.
Yeah, and when you think about, most of these homes, Lautner mostly designed kind of, his heyday was maybe the 60s and 70s. And granted, technology was really starting to come into play. But I mean, this isn't all done on computers like you do. And nowadays, you can do anything on computers and make it, sound and all that. But I mean, this guy,
they were
pencil to paper.
engineering feats, and he was a lover of concrete. He was a true brutalist. Organic architecture is my favorite. Anything concrete, I'm mad for.
Yeah, because that's where you can really make the spans.
Yeah, definitely.
Because what you don't want is a bunch of columns going down, and wood only take you so far, but concrete, you can span that shit.
It's beautiful.
Who are you people who don't love architecture?
Guaranteed they don't get as much out of life as we do, right?
Well, and even on a small, and I'm talking micro small scale, because as these guys know, I'm totally always down for the weekend getaway. I love a weekend getaway. And I'm sorry, like a regular, out of the box hotel just simply will not do. I want to go to a special place that feels special architecturally, like it can be for all of us.
Yeah. That's a great point. Is when you travel, you get a choice as to the kind of the mainstream, I don't know, Hyatt or whatever, or Hilton, or something maybe a little more small scale but unique. And those unique experiences are the ones that stick with you more.
Well, Gina, you are invited to stay at the Lautner compound.
I know you go to Joshua Tree.
I'll be there as soon as I'm COVID clear. Thank you.
We're only 30 minutes door to door to Joshua Tree, so not too
now
bad.
You're talking my language.
Joshua Tree has a door.
A gate.
An entrance.
Where do you think we're at with architecture now? I watch a lot of the shows. I like the new stuff just because I love the open floor plan and the high ceilings and the doors that collapse into the wall and this big sort of bring the outdoor, indoor, and everything.
Is cool now.
On the other hand, I worry that much like a fashion or hairstyle, 10 years from now, they're just going to make fun of people. On the other hand, you could definitely make an argument that you grew up in the Valley, right?
Yeah.
I grew up in the Valley. Probably the hub of shitty architecture.
Yes.
And I'm not just saying nationwide. I'm saying worldwide.
Yeah.
Everything in the Valley was built from 1962 to 1987, and that is a little snapshot of the shittiest art, devoid of charm.
Yeah.
I mean, you could go, I would tell people all the time, you could go to Hell's Kitchen or the Bronx or something, but at least, maybe you'd get stabbed, but at least there was something going on from an architectural standpoint while you bled out on the ground. This was just aluminum windows,
look at that brownstone,
flat roofs, stucco boxes, slabs. Yeah. Everything was just a slab, a flat roof. there should be counseling centers open for all the people who moved in their house in like 1977 with the flat roof and the slab, and then at some point someone went, "You want cable?" And they're like, "Yeah, but where the fuck do we run it? Because you can't go under the house and drag it, and you can't go up into the attic. There is no attic." And then that's where you see all the coax just stuck to the side of the house on top of the stucco. Now it got worse when you see all the all the coax broken off or all the cable boxes.
It's the architecture of depressing, really.
It is.
It's just like the strip malls and everything. And, there were actually beautiful ranches at one point because, it was all like equestrian and farm country and all that. And, some of the photos I've seen of these, beautiful estates that were just mowed down for just the worst, most crackerbox houses.
You'll also see weird conversions, especially in the flatlands of Beverly Hills, right? Like around like Pico and Robertson, that whole area. Lots of cool old, but obviously used to be hotels, but are now converted to like weird apartments, and they still have that cool hotel aesthetic, but they've been painted over and converted, and they look that looks like it was once interesting.
With like a fortune teller at the bottom.
Yeah, there's like a lot. There's like a common area or whatever, gazebo.
The thing I would always see is some Spanish-themed 1920s thing, and they always redid the kitchen. The kitchen, they got about 50 years out of the kitchen, right? So the place was built in 1924, but they did the kitchen in 74. Okay. So amongst all the cool tile and the vaulted ceilings and the coves and the plaster work was this shitty laminate
Formica.
Yeah, burnt orange Formica countertop with the stainless sink, the above mount sink. It was like, somebody. And I've done so many houses where it's really easy because when you're living in it, you don't know you're in it. It's basically you like the smell of your own farts. You have to leave the room and enter a room where someone else farted it up, you know?
Exactly.
And you have people going, well, why not do this with the kitchen or that? Because that's what everyone's in. Everyone's doing this thing now. And I'm like, you got to put it back to how it was. You can't, you don't want someone walking in going, oh, when did you do the kitchen? You want to, you don't want to be able to pull that.
Yeah. It's like, does this, what you want to do, this Formica monstrosity, go with the rest of it? Like, no, this is not equal. So try to, make it equal.
Well, the good thing with your job, though, Danny travels and takes pictures of mid-century modern architecture to paint. He needs inspiration. He takes artistic license.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, babe, you're going to get rid of this.
Magic wand. And
it looked better if it looked like this.
Exactly.
So, thank God for that artistic license.
Yeah, I have an advantage where photographers basically have the subject to work with. I can switch it up a little. So,
well, the wedding is in April, Max Zapata?
Yes, sir.
How many
You'll
people going out there?
I think we have 180 invites.
Where do we sleep?
It's all the information's on your invitation.
Oh, that's funny.
We'll have Matt show it to you.
You know how we ended up working together? So my phone rang. I talk very loud. Danny's in his studio. I'm in my office. And he overheard me saying Chris's name. It was an interesting name, so I repeated it after the wedding planner said it. Danny yells out,
poke my head out.
That's Chris. I know him. It's Jen, his wedding. They lost the venue. You have to do this wedding. I'll kill you if you don't do this wedding. So I talked to the wedding planner and I said, I'm very interested in doing this wedding. Let me figure something out. I'll call you back. Hung up. Danny laid down the law. I mean, I listen to you every day. 10 hours a day. He paints.
He listens on quarter speed.
All I hear is the Adam Carolla podcast. For 10 years, I've known this wonderful man. So I feel like you're part of the family. You're always in our house. Yeah. Gina. All the songs I sing. So it's a blessing to be here. Thank you. But that's how we got the gig with Chris. Danny said I had to do it.
We'll see you in April, depending on the food offerings, Chris. Because that's a long way to drive for, skinless chicken.
Right.
What do we got?
Oh, it's great.
Shrimp tails. Neiman Ranch.
My dear friend Dave's Catering.
Chef
Dave of LA.
Well, if Dave's
He's doing it. Chef's got it.
I'm going a day early. All right, let me give the website out, thelautner.com and DannyHellerArt.com. hypnotist.com is where you can go as well. Thank you guys for helping out Chris and us. Thanks for being a fan and
excited for the weekend.
Thank you guys.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be great.
Hypnotist, comedian Chris Jones is going to apply some of his trade to Dawson and Gina, and we'll do that right after this.
It's time to check Adam's voicemail.
Ace man, Ryan from Wisconsin. Just letting you know, I'm fucked up, drinking some Busch Light, and that's about all it needs to go. Is Busch Light. Peace out.
You can leave us a message at 888-634-1744.
Comedian, hypnotist Chris Jones is with us, as you've seen on America's Got Talent and many other TV shows as well. Good to see you, Chris.
Thanks to see you.
How does one get into this profession of yours?
One can do it by going online and meeting a hypnotist and paying $1,500 to $5,000, going to Vegas for a weekend. I wrote my thesis in grad school on hypnosis. I picked the easiest major, which was recreation, at the biggest party of school, Southern Illinois, Carbondale. And for 2 years, I was the Saluki mascot.
Were you really?
I was brown dog.
Wow.
My parents met at SIU.
Oh, that's wonderful.
They both went to SIU.
Were you hypnotized to say that?
Carbondale.
No, Carbondale. That's what we call it.
Yes.
So you were the mascot?
I was brown dog.
Wait, does Brown Dog have an outfit?
Yeah, I was. That was just me. I just showed up and said, "Guys, this is a Saluki."
If you were in a frat house, your nickname could be Brown Dog.
Yeah,
that's all I'm saying.
No. So the cheerleaders were there, and then I would come out, and I came out like on a Harley and whatever. But I'm 5'10", and the big dog, the big mascot, had to be at least 6 feet. So they said, "You're a brown dog," and it was fine. And I go around and hug people, and I high five the kids. I once sat on a lady's lap, and I got up, and she's like, "Brown dog piddled," and like I was so sweaty in the costume, I laid like a whole butt mark on her. But yeah, that's how I became a hypnotist. I was a failed mascot.
Sounds like you're a successful mascot.
Who are the best and who are the worst subjects for this?
That's great. People who overthink things, like engineers, don't usually make good subjects. But the life of the party, the first person on the dance floor,
A Real Housewife.
A Real Housewife. I saw that episode.
It would probably be
of Salt Lake City. Yeah, no. Howie Mandel made a good subject. Mike Bublé, not so much. So, like, you want, to use an analogy, the bass player would be good. You don't want the lead singer. Yeah.
I got a lot of conflicts on all of those pages.
Where do you go with this?
Yeah.
And what's number one? I mean, in the past, it would be like quit smoking. But what is it now? What are the top three that people are looking
It's
for?
still quit smoking because no one wants to get over the fear right now. Like a little bit of healthy paranoia is fine as long as it's healthy. But it's all, help me quit smoking. I want to lose weight. Those are the top two. Like no one's like, I am the perfect shape right now. This is forever.
I wonder if you'll see an evolution in that in like a few years from now. People coming to you to like, I need to quit social media or, or less Twitter.
I can see that.
I can totally see that.
But I'm going to embarrass you real fast, Adam. When we got in here, you were like, hey, it's nice to meet you. I met you, and it was a very great moment for me because we were doing the Hard Rock, and you had me on your show. It was right after America's Got Talent, and I'm at the pool before I meet you, before I do the podcast, and I'm with my buddy, and I see you, and you're like, drinking. You're not probably drinking, but people are drinking Mangria.
That was a heavy drinking day.
Before the podcast, and you saw me, and I didn't want to bother you. My guy's like, go say hi. And I'm like, no. And you made a beeline, and you said, hey, Chris, thanks for doing this. That's my Adam voice. Thanks for doing the show. And I was like, yeah, it's a pleasure. You're like, so how was the flight? You doing all right? I was like, yeah, I'm great. And he was like, all right, if there's anything you need, just let me know. But really, thanks for coming. And I made me feel like $10 million, so I appreciate it.
Well, thanks, and I apologize for introducing myself for a second.
You meet 10,000 people a year.
I'm looking at Chris.
You have children.
I get a heads up normally when it's like he was on the show and whatever. And so if I don't hear it, I don't care if you were here yesterday. I'll just assume you were never on the show.
I've met so many neighbors many times, like, yeah, Chris, I live next to you. I just moved into a house, and I'm like, yeah, I used to drink so much. I apologize. Like, so many drugs.
Well, the tip is, and I've been burned on it for some reason, I think it was Janine Garofalo who burned me on this. I screwed up. I made a rule that I would say nice to see you rather than nice to meet you because when I said nice to meet you to Janine Garofalo, she said, I've been on the show 3 times. So
I am not offended. I said, hey, could I come on the show? And then Mike just said, yep. That was a full email.
That's a Mike email right there. That's actually verbose for
That's how you know it's authentic.
So Gina, you're struggling with two subjects?
I think so.
What are the two?
I think there are 2 things that keep coming back up in my life. If you can see, since I took my nails off, I can't stop biting my nails, destroying my fingers, picking off all the skin. I can't stop. I can't. That's the fidget that is so unseemly and so not great. And even though I've been challenged many times over the years, especially with hardships with my dad and with family, I still wouldn't exactly consider myself an expert when it comes to conflict. And boy, I would like to be able to access the part of myself that whose blood doesn't run cold when a conflict comes up.
Yeah. Well, maybe you don't have that in you. Maybe there's nothing to access. I don't want to be Debbie Downer here, but how does it work? I mean, are you trying to release something that exists in all of us, or can you put something into people?
There's a joke there somewhere.
Yeah.
Adam just saw Inception, so he's got it on the brain.
I saw Inception.
All the best athletes have a hypnotist. So if I asked you who's the greatest heavyweight fighter of all time, you'd probably say 1 or 2 people.
Heavyweight, I would say Ali
Mike
or maybe Tyson.
Yeah, those are the 2.
Okay.
The only person who, I think Ali lost 4 fights. One of them was because that guy had a hypnotist. And the Mike Tyson saw a hypnotist at the age of 13. Custy Amato was his coach, his father figure, and he said, come, we're going to see a hypnotist. And you focus on nothingness, complete darkness, punches and bunches and punches, yes. And he instilled in him this warrior, I want to kill everything in the room that's moving. So for Gina, I could say, imagine someone who you look up to. Can we tell everyone who it is?
They're not going to be surprised.
Dolly Parton. So you imagine yourself being more and more like her, the confidence, and then you think Dolly Parton wouldn't bite her nails. And then
Good point.
If you're trying to quit smoking, you say, my dad quit, and it was just a light switch. And I will see myself as the best form of my dad. All right. I'm not looking at Dolly Parton for any shortcoming whatsoever, my father for nothing, but I have just the greatness, and that's what you give as a hypnotist.
Interesting. So there's a little pre-interview.
Yeah.
You need to know that it's Dolly Parton. You need to know it's Dawson's dad. All right, should we get into it? We took a break. You did your magic during the break.
Yeah, so during the break, because they can't hear it. If you're listening to this and you're driving, you could, honest to God, fall asleep and you could try to sue me. Good luck. I got some books here. I'm going to do a trick that is a little different. This is kind of how I got the master's degree. Here's the deal, don't touch me, Howie Mandel. Because people were like, oh, you paid Howie to shake your hand. And I'm like, he's been rich since Bobby's World. I'm 35. Like, no. I got Joe Coy, who I admire a great deal. And I got this guy. In 50 years, we'll all be chicks.
Oh.
So this is kind of cool. People at home can enjoy this as well.
Marlon Brando.
So, Brian, the one you choose is the one we use.
Okay. Oh,
so
wow.
There's no force.
Is this just, okay, Joe Coy.
Joe Coy. Okay,
Right
so I'm
there in
going
the
to have you pass that to him. And would you be so kind, at some point you're going to say, this is autographed. By you.
Right.
I didn't just do that. You're going to say stop when you like, please.
Stop.
Cool. All right, 142. So you're going to open Joe Coy's book, and if you're listening at home, you have Joe Coy's hardcover, you turn it to 142. Okay. Brian, greatest voice you can read the first couple words.
Oh my God, 142.
The first laugh.
It's blank. Yeah. It's literally 142. The first laugh.
Okay, so that's the shitty one. You're going to say stop again?
Stop again.
127. Okay.
127.
But don't hold it up higher, and don't read it out loud. Just hold the book. I'll keep looking your way. And when you're there, just say, I'm there. No, don't. Only Brian can see it.
Okay.
Right? Adam, you'll agree?
Yes.
Okay. So think of the first couple of words. Let your mind, pressure. Yeah, that's a very top left-hand side of the first word is pressure. Is that right, Brian? Yes or no?
Yes, it is.
All right, so then we're going to down a little bit. And I've read these books cover to cover, all three of them, full disclosure. But half-breed. That's the word that's big and bold in your mind right now, yes? Yes.
It is right there.
7-Eleven. It's insane. It's crazy that this person who used to steal wine coolers from 7-Eleven, have strangers steal wine coolers from 7-Eleven, would one day be famous, making people laugh, and not in the funny way. Is that all in there?
That's the more or
Let
less,
your
yes.
eyes go some more. Oh, I think that's insecure of what if I fail? That's big and bold in your mind too. Yes?
Yes.
Nice.
So you picked a random page from my book, or Dawson did, and we did the corresponding page on Joe Coy's book, and then you said what was on that page.
Could you slide your finger into one of the pages for Howie Mandel's book? It's closed. You can do the commentary. It's all right. Unless it's a picture page, we're not going to do it. All right. So could you read the first couple of words?
Me?
Yeah, just not out loud.
I gotta
sorry.
Get my readers on. Okay.
It's tricky because it's a number. Yes.
Yes.
1979. I'm a little dyslexic.
Wow.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, things were different then in 1979. All right, we're going to double blind that again. Throw a finger in there.
So you're just picking a random page in Howie's book.
This is a soft cover, so if you're checking it out, is it there?
Yep.
Okay.
Thumb to page.
Again, not out loud, but to yourself. If this is you got the first word, lock it in your mind.
Mm-hmm.
There's no reflections, although there's glass. It's a short word. It's the end of a 4-letter good, period. Good. Yes?
No.
Damn it. What do we have?
Now.
You can...
No! Ha! The first word.
Oh, wow. The first word is good.
Big as day.
Wow. Wow. Crazy.
What did you say? What did you say?
I said now. I started on the next paragraph.
Oh,
That's
okay.
the first
yeah,
word
the
I
very
could
first
see.
word. Yeah.
You can watch this on our YouTube page, by the
Yeah,
way.
you're correct. It is good.
/ Adam
Jesus,
Carolla.
sorry.
Your book is still closed.
Mm-hmm.
What did you? What do you? I don't know if this is too boring or too much. And this is just an idea. More. We'll come back to the book. Yeah, we'll come back to the book. It's a good start. It's a good start. I've heard you read that. So on a good day, if you open it to a page and you give me a word, I can tell you what you're going through in your life at that time.
So you want me to do that?
We'll give it a try. Yeah, let's roll the dice. Go ahead.
All right, just open to a random page.
Give me like the first, as long as not a picture, the first couple words in the sentence.
On any random page.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. Far too many guys in their 40s can't turn a wrench or swing a hammer nowadays, but they have tons of options about the new Silver Surfer movie. Opinions, I should say. I should learn to read my own book. They have plenty of opinions about the new Silver Surfer movie. It's a sure sign of the pussification of America. What happened? Forget about actually being a man's man. Guys don't even bother to lie about being manly anymore.
Beautiful. Okay. You gave us a lot.
Well, I was waiting for you to throw something
I'm terribly sorry. Yeah. No. Hold that for just a minute or two. We'll do a little bit more dialogue. Throw a finger in there, a bookmark, whatever. And we've now have 3 different books. And yeah, perfect.
Okay.
I was hoping there'd be an ad. It'd be like, dun, dun, dun. No. We're going to dialogue. Yeah, I'm sorry. We're going to, I'm going to get it. I assure you.
You're going to get it.
Yeah.
So is this all photographic memory
No,
stuff?
God, no. No.
What is it?
You know, they say like fake it till you make it. Mm-hmm. I wasn't a great student, but I knew that if I stuck with a book, I could regurgitate something interesting to a professor. That's kind of how I college pretty fast in grad school. No, this is just a learned skill. Like any books, and I don't like people who like, oh, I'm a psychic and I can tell you your future. I'm not that. I will be as transparent as possible, learned skill set.
So would one consider this a magic trick? Because that's what it feels like.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So
it feels like magic.
Yeah.
Well, so like I remember all jingles that I heard on commercials from the 70s. It's not really a trick. It's just the way my brain works. I heard the Pete Ellis Dodge commercial in 1977, and I know what the jingle is.
Mm-hmm. Like the telephone number. Yeah.
Yeah.
588-2300 Empire.
Yeah, right. I just have that kind of brain. Is yours kind of a visual brain where you read it and it's now just locked in there somewhere?
No, I think it's more of an auditory thing. Like my dad was a photographer, so I can see a picture and I'll get a glimpse of it. But like Brian's book, he was talking about being raised by more or less kind of hippie moms and like a wedding, and then you called your mom's vagina a hoo-ha.
I may have.
The copper IUD.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So that thing just goes in my head.
In shrinkage, Brian.
Yeah, shrinkage.
So how much of it, though, getting those words on the page, how much of it is reacting to the signals we're giving you?
Anytime I try to hypnotize a person, I read their book if they're a celebrity. I read it cover to cover so I know what they're coming from to some degree. Like when I had a chauffeur very briefly, I read, Howie's book, and then I read Mel B's book, and it gains rapport. And if you trust someone, it's kind of like with politicians. If you shake their hand, you have like a 60% chance you will get their vote just by the tangible touch.
Mm-hmm. You say you're working with athletes now?
Yeah.
Can you say the names of any of the athletes?
I've got one of the NBA who went in the first draft and then just had some injuries. And so this mental thing after surgery, like I can't get over this. And so we're working with him, and he's one of the good ones. He's one of the really cool. I'll tell you later but 100%.
What are athletes normally focused on?
I mean, you've met way more than I have. You met Evander Holyfield.
Yeah.
And you held mitts for him, right?
Yeah.
And then you gave him comments on how to be better. And I listened to that.
He's dropping his lead.
Yes!
No.
Like, who does that? Like, you're the world champion. Someone like you. You need a friend who will tell you, hey, champ, you're great. You're effing up. Like, no one else is going to tell you this, so I will tell you this.
Well, let's talk about Evander, the truth or the real deal. I think it was the real deal. Holyfield. I've always said I'll go back to the aforementioned Mike Tyson. He was the first guy who thought he was going to bully Mike Tyson. And Mike Tyson was up in everyone's head, and the fight was lost before it began because they were essentially fighting not to be knocked out versus fighting to knock out Mike Tyson. Guys were so intimidated by him, they were sort of back on their heels, and then he just would walk through them. But what Holyfield did, and the way he was able to get the best of Tyson, is he walked right to Tyson, and then he started trading with Tyson in the middle of the ring, and I think it got in Tyson's head a little bit. Eventually, he got frustrated and bit his ear. But now Holyfield, I don't know if he saw a hypnotist. His hypnotist is named Jesus Christ. And if you think about it, that's what he was using. He was like, I got the ultimate hypnotist. I got God. Yeah. And he's told me to go out there and kick this dude's ass. And when you look at Holyfield, he didn't seem phased. He didn't seem intimidated. Wasn't pacing. He wasn't
singing
nervous.
on the way to the ring.
Yeah, he was just sort of having a good time, got out there, started kicking Tyson's ass, and you're like, oh, in a weird way, depending on your faith, that is what you do times 10 because that's what he believed. He was hypnotized by the Bible.
Yeah, Mike Tyson, when he lost to Buster Douglas in Japan, the odds were 50-1. And they're like, no more bets. Like, we know Buster. His name is Buster. He's not going to win. And he saw a hypnotist, and his mom sadly just passed away. And he's like, my whole life is this one moment. Like, I'm not leaving this ring unless I'm the champion or I'm dead. And you just have that mentality, that switch. And I got this great scar from like.
Oh my!
Yeah, this is pretty
Holy
epic.
cow!
I used to wet the bed. I'm talking number 1 to number 2,
That's
4, 5 times.
13-inch.
So you had your bladder removed?
Half my large intestine's gone.
Jesus.
I was 2 weeks old, and they're like, he has Hirschsprung's disease, and I wet the bed. And I had a therapist that I went to in high school because as a high school boy, all I wanted to do was lose my virginity, sleep in bed, and then not have shit everywhere. Like
That's
lose
what we
the
all
girlfriend.
want.
As all
Those are
everyone
good
does.
goals.
I went to college. Day before I went to college, I was still wetting the bed. I met my roommate Ryan, and I stopped. He went home for spring break, and I wet the bed again. He came back. I stopped. I went home for winter break. I wet the bed, and I was like, Chris, there's nothing special about your roommate. He does not have magic powers. You need to just wake up. And I stopped. But this was something that conflicted me for 18 years, and just a light switch. So my hope is we will get you to quit smoking. It's not as dire as stopping biting your fingers and destroying them. But yeah, I want to add people minutes to their lives.
The thing harkening back to the Buster Douglas-Tyson fight, he was so confident that he was going to beat Buster Douglas that at a certain point, maybe round 7 or 8, when Tyson was getting beat up, he was going back to his corner. And, you know, Tyson didn't quit on that fight. I mean, he was there to fight. And near the end of the fight, threw a hellacious uppercut that almost took Buster's head off. But Buster got his faculties back and took it to him. But his corner didn't have the end swell and didn't have the stuff that you would use to bring down the swelling in a fighter's eye. And they had a rubber glove and they just like filled it with cold water. And they were so
overly confident.
Yeah. Like, why would we need to bring the swelling down on a guy? He's going to destroy him in the first round. And then we can go back to partying in Japan. It was a crazy night.
Yeah. I'm sure you read his book, Undisputed.
No, I did not.
Oh, you've probably seen it. Well, you've had him. I have to read the books. I don't have these people like on speed dial.
Yeah, the thing that makes that fight weird and eerie is it's a 50-1 champion at the height of his powers getting beat up by a guy who used to come in overweight and be a little fat and be a little out of shape. And the arena's silent because it's Japan. And they don't stand up and scream and yell shit. Like, if that was happening in Vegas, people would be going out of their fucking minds.
Losing their minds.
The invincible Mike Tyson having a fight taken to him. But it was like a COVID hockey game in Canada. Like, they were playing, but you weren't hearing anything.
Yeah.
It was eerie and weird.
So that's what I do with so many different athletes. Like, tunnel vision is what I want. I want people to think there's nothing, but I just got to get to the end of this tunnel, complete focus, complete darkness, focus on this one task. Because if there's 50,000 people cheering for you, that's it. Like, if you look up the world record for most consecutive free throw shots, not in a game, just a person taking the ball, it's like 8,200. And it's by, he's gone, rest in peace. He's by like an 82-year-old podiatrist. And he retired from his practice, and he's like, well, I need a hobby. And the guy's like, go to the gym, take a basketball. He's like, I can't take a basketball, but I can shoot some free throws. And he just had a system, and he worked it out. And he said, the idea is you're just shooting one. You're just shooting one each time. Mm-hmm. And so he would get the ball back, and he'd just look at the little black hole and say, I wonder how deep that black hole goes. Kind of like the Zen trick. Clear your mind. And 8,200 times.
Really?
Huh.
Look it up.
You figure the guys like Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady, since they're the coolest of the customers, are working with somebody. But then there's also just a kind of weird natural wiring that makes them relax. But I don't know if you know anything about that.
Yeah, I'm sure you could, with the best female tennis players, Serena and Venus, their dad didn't know how to play tennis. He saw a woman get a check, and he's like, that's a lot of money for a woman. That's a lot of money for a woman at this time period. I'm going to have 2 daughters teach you how to play tennis. So he taught himself tennis, and he worked their butts off, and he made a plan. And it's something about a self-fulfilling prophecy. So
forced personality.
Yeah. I don't know if, I don't want to be too spacey. Almost anything's possible, but I don't know.
All right, so I'm a strong believer in speak of the sun, and you'll see its rays.
Okay, that's deep.
You know.
Should we get to heavy, Dawson? Brought up the philosopher in Dawson. Should we start with Gina? You want to do Dawson? You want to do them simultaneously? You tell me.
Gina, if you sit back comfortably in the chair for a hot second, this is a speed induction. If you just focus on my hand, you can see it for a second. Take a deep breath in. This hand will close. You'll feel the urge. Just allow your eyes to close. And as it closes, you can just drop heavy, tired all the way down. Every muscle, every nerve, and every fiber. And you can just double, triple, all the way down from the very top of your head to the very bottom of your feet. Your eyes are closed. You're exactly where you should be. Now, you can hear everything I'm saying as you're hypnotized, but you're not distracted by anything visually. Again, I want you to relax and let go. 3 numbers is an uncontrollable urge. Your eyes are closed. I want you to extend your right or left hand. It doesn't matter which. Just feel the urge now to extend your right or left hand. Let it rise, and it pulls higher and higher and higher, higher. You're going to imagine you're holding a big dry erase marker for us, okay? And the cap's off, and I want you to write your first name, Gina. Write your name in that sky. And now imagine someone you trust, maybe someone you love, is saying your name, but now they're walking farther and farther and farther away from you. Erase your name from the sky. Erase your name from the dry erase. They're walking farther away. You can barely hear your name now. You can't hear your name. And 3, 2, 1, just you sleep all the way down from the top of your head to the very, very bottom of your feet. Relax every muscle, every nerve, and every fiber. Heavy, tired. You just erased your own name. You erased it. And you can't hear your name anymore for the next 5-10 minutes of your life. Sleep, relax, and let go. You'll find it difficult, dare I say, impossible to pronounce your name. This will not embarrass you. Nothing we say or do will embarrass you, but for the next 5-10 minutes, you developed a stutter and can't pronounce your name. This will not embarrass you. 5 numbers, you're going to come back feeling great. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and wide awake. So this is a test. I'll do another test in a moment or two. We had 2 people who were working for the quit smoking and for the confidence. Gina, where are you from?
Kansas City.
Yes, Kansas City. Of course, I saw that on Wikipedia. And communications major?
Theater.
Okay. Your name, of course, is?
Gina.
Perfect. What did that feel like for you? What did that feel like for you? Tell us what the feeling was.
Oh, a little bit of a stumble in the middle.
Of your name?
A little bit of a stumble around the N.
Uh-huh. And just do heavy, tired, all the way down. Even more heavy, more tired, more deep. The N is gone. The I is gone. You got the G, you got the A. Just a little blurry now. 3 numbers are going to come back. It gets more difficult to pronounce the name. And wide awake. Yeah, from Kansas City. Beautiful place. Love it. Nice hills. And communications, was I wrong about that?
Theater.
Theater. And what would they call you? What's your name?
Gina.
Okay, that's interesting. And if you move just one headphone, it's the craziest thing. Could you just move one headphone? Could you still hear me? Could you tug the ear for just a second? It's like a light switch, all right? Give it a tug and go off all the way down. Relax and let go. It is not easy not saying SLEEP. Relax and let go, Gina, from the very top of your head. And now the G, the Ina, the gone, forget, and relax. Now, from this day forward, you're going to find, notice there's like a power in you, a radiantness to you. Your heart is pounding, and there's confidence there. There's no reason to feel anxious, negative feelings. You can just take a deep breath in, and you can push them out of your mind's eye just like that with a breath. You have all the elegance of Dolly Parton, all the confidence. You've done so much. You've come so far from Kansas City, and you have more places to go. You don't have time to be picking at your nails. You don't have time to be dealing with what people think about you. No one's thinking about you in a negative way. They only see the greatness that's coming from your heart. 5 nerves, you're going to feel better than we woke up this morning, better than you have in a week or 2 or a month, despite being under the weather. You're going to come back feeling wonderful. Forget the first, middle, last name for the next hour of your life. 3, 2, and awake. So that was just a adjustability test. Anyone who can sleepwalk, somnambulist is a term, is usually a really good person. Like anyone's done any sleepwalking, I'm like, I got him right away. I'll show you another test in a moment or two. But yeah, that's nice. How are you feeling, Gina?
I feel great. I feel my heart feels kind of fluttery, but I feel really relaxed.
You sound high.
I can see my eyes in the camera, and they don't look the way they did at the beginning of the show.
You should hypnotize Mike Birbiglia.
No!
Sleepwalk with me?
Because he's a sleepwalker.
Prime suspect.
Yeah.
Prime subject.
Yeah.
I've sleptwalked before.
Oh, boy.
you have?
Just
Here we
twice that I
go.
know of.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah. Once when I was a kid, and then once months ago.
How did you find out the second time? And normally there's a roommate or a parent that points it out to you.
I woke up in the. I walked. I had one of my buddies drank too much with me, and then he slept in the spare bedroom. And I woke up, and I had opened the door to the spare bedroom at like 4 a.m. And I just stood there staring at the poor guy. And he's like, "What's up, dude?" I'm like, "Oh, shit. Yeah, I'm sorry. I forgot you were here." But that didn't explain anything. What the fuck am I doing standing in the fucking hallway just staring at this dude sleeping in the spare bed? Scary.
Well, I'm not Freud, but obviously you're sexually interested
I
in
must
the
have
boy.
been, dude.
Clearly.
All right. Sorry. Should we go to Dawson and smoking now?
Yeah, let's
or
do it.
Maybe there's a sleepwalking issue we need to address.
Let me show you one more thing just because I like when people are skeptical. I encourage more people in this world to be skeptical. We can pass one to Brian, please. I just passed around 4 black poker chips. They really, truly are just poker chips. I stole them from a Walmart. This is an idea called do as I do. You put in your left hand, let it drop into your right hand. No big deal. The poker chip is in the left hand, letting it drop into the right. Perfect. I'm left-handed. This is easy for me. Now, it gets interesting when the poker chip will float up. And that looks a little bit like that. Now, that was crap. It went about 2 inches, maybe.
I don't know.
3 if you're generous.
That was pretty damn good.
Are you right-handed or left-handed?
Right.
Okay, so this is an idea that the poker chip now disappears. No big deal. Of course, I have short sleeves on, so you see my tan and my tattoo. It's on your shoulder.
There it is.
But this is an idea. It's called the muscle pass, and anyone can do what I'm doing. There's muscle in every single person's palm, and if you build enough tension, enough force, kind of like Spider-Man fingers, the finger gun, the pressure has nowhere to go, so the poker chip goes up, and after the first 1,000 times, it turns over, and after 2,000 times, it goes a little bit higher. And so maybe on a good day, it goes like 7 inches.
Wow.
The nice thing is psychology says where I look, you look. So Gina Grad's like, where the hell did that poker chip go? Because psychology says where I look, you look. And then you find someone who's nice and you ask an arbitrary question. Are you right-handed or left-handed?
Right.
It truly doesn't matter, but it ends up back on his shoulder, the poker chip. And that's how magic works.
Yeah, remind me of when David Blaine levitated.
Love
for me.
him.
Were you at Loveline when
was.
he levitated for me?
I met David Blaine.
Pretty sure I was.
He was my hero as of when I was in 6th grade, and he goes, I was like, can I get your autograph? I'm at a show for him, and he's like, you know, you kind of look like Drake.
You do?
And I'm like, thank you, you're my hero. Oh my God, I don't know what to say.
He was, I'll tell you why he's my hero. He was the Pete Davidson before Pete Davidson. He was nailing world-class punani.
Yeah.
All through the late 90s, early 2000s. I mean, his roster, his dance card was full.
Magic?
Yes.
It was magic.
It was. I mean, if that's the real genius of him, he had all the best, hottest chicks all the time.
That's why a
David
lot
Blaine
of
did.
skinny magicians without friends learn magic. Like you're 5'10", you're 150 in 6th grade. You're like, this is it. I better pick up a deck of cards.
It's Saluki or this.
Oh yeah, that's what it was.
Daryl Hannah, Fiona Apple.
Yeah, Fiona Apple.
That's just to get started.
He did work.
Yes. All right, should we do
Let's do
Dawson
them.
and smoking?
This is a suggestibility test. So I'm going to have everybody but Adam try this for me.
Okay.
You're going to take the right hand, please, and the right hand's elbow straight. So if you're trying at home, you can try this is still safe. And just imagine, as with your right hand straight out, you can grab a string. So with your right hand, your fist, you now made a fist around a string. You have a helium balloon by the string. Look up at where that balloon is in your mind's eye. Make your favorite color. Great. Take a deep breath in. Let it out. Take another deep breath in. Let it out. Breathe at your own pace. Whenever you breathe in, the balloon will pull your arm higher. And when you breathe out, the balloon will fall. As you breathe in, the balloon pulls your arm higher. You breathe out, your balloon will fall. Good. Relax your arm. Your arm moved. I saw 2 out of 3. Brian, not so much, and that's very okay. No. You don't need to apologize because that's just where you are. If your fist moved, you had good focus, good concentration. You could get hypnotized if you were to try. If your fist not moved, there's one of 3 reasons usually. 1, if your fist didn't move, you're like, I don't want it to. You're a control freak. That's okay. 2, English might be a second or third or fourth, fifth language. I've done shows abroad. I usually have a translator, which is dope.
Wow.
Yeah. Like I will say something and my brother who speaks Japanese will say it in Japanese and they go out. 3rd, if you're like the engineer mind, which you might be, Brian, like you're like, wait, why is the balloon getting larger? It uses helium. I'm breathing in. That doesn't make any sense. And you're overthinking it.
That's interesting. I just came from physical therapy where they tell you, keep your arm straight. We're going to push against it. Or keep your leg straight. I'm always like, arm straight. You said arm straight out, arm straight out.
Remind me if you would. I'll show you literally the induction I did with Howie Mandel.
Okay.
Your arms are here. Here's a clock. We're going back in time, and then boom.
Okay.
Because it's the biomechanics of where his arms were. It was impossible for him to keep his arms up.
Huh.
Impossible. Huh? And so when his arm dropped, his brain said, "This guy's hypnotizing me. He's in my head." And then I said, "You'll shake my hand. I know it's gonna work." Like I did. My voice cracked, and it did, and I was like, "Oh shit!" And then Heidi Klum, who got to talk to my face, oh my god, that was a miracle. She spoke to me. She said, "Could you make it so it's permanent?" I was like, "I could try." And he read it, and he went out because you don't say some words into the TV, and then they went ape shit.
Yeah,
so,
we watched it.
That was fun.
Came in.
That was fun. So it was a good day. Or do the balloon thing one more time, okay? So now that we all know what to expect, everyone but Adam, there's a string, right hand, left hand, the same palm up. Yeah, perfect. Now this time you're gonna do it with your eyes closed. You can hear the voice. String, right hand, fist, left hand, nothing there. Don't move, close your eyes. Now again, imagine the balloon's gonna get larger and larger. For whatever reason, I can tie another string, another helium balloon around your fist and make your fist, your arm, your right hand pull higher and higher towards the ceiling. Your left hand, there's nothing there. Imagine I put a 10-pound brick into your palm, so your palm gets more heavy. Another deep breath in, another helium balloon I tie around your fist, pulling your fist higher and higher. One more big fat brick in that palm, making that palm even more heavy. You let your chin go towards your chest. That's a safe, relaxing spot just for your head, your neck, your back to fall. And for Gina, you can drop heavy now and relax them all the way down. Relax every muscle and every nerve and allow both arms to fall. And the word just means relax. And any sound you hear from my voice, Gina, any tap you feel, just doubles your state of relaxation. 10, 9, 8. Relax and let go. 5, 4. Gina, focus on the words you're hearing, but you just relax. And again, focus yourself on being more confident, that radiant energy coming out of your chest, making your heart feel full. Now I want you, the person I'm touching here, to imagine we can go back in time. That chair is now a time chair, and you're going all the way back to your very first cigarette. Your eyes are closed. You're exactly where you should be. Let your subconscious mind take over. How old are you when you have that first cigarette?
14.
And make it vivid in your mind. Who is around you? Who are you next to?
Steve.
And whose cigarette does it belong to begin with?
Some other dude.
Yeah. So
Tommy.
Good. Now make it very vivid in your mind. You take the cigarette. What's the first thing that happens when it goes to your lips?
I can taste it.
What does it taste like?
Plastic.
Yeah. Imagine that. Imagine you're holding that cigarette there and you're holding the lighter with your other hand. Yes or no? Make it vivid. Yes. So you're igniting plastic. And then you're 14 years old and you're sucking in plastic into your body. Now, imagine you're in a movie theater and you're watching yourself inject a syringe full of plastic into your arm. Imagine yourself putting plastic into your mouth, into your lungs. You now, as the adult, can go to that child right into that movie and stop that child. You can say, "You're worthy, you're great, I care about you, you have too many things to do, too many awesome adventures, too many friends to cherish. I see where this is headed, this putting plastic into your body, and I'm stopping it now." Take a deep breath in, let it out. You weren't born a smoker. No one was born a smoker. You're not going to be an ex-smoker. You were born a child, 13 years of your life you enjoyed just smoke-free. You had the freedom of not purchasing plastic and burning it. So from now on, you just have the freedom whenever you see a cigarette of knowing, I don't need that. I'm not going to burn plastic and put that taste into my mouth. I regret nothing. That was the old me. I saw that kid on the screen and I stopped that child. 5 numbers, you're going to wake up thinking about everything you could do with that time, everything you could do with each minute of your life. Waking up in the morning and not coughing. Not that horrible sensation of, I have to quit. Seeing the best sides of your father who did quit in a day because of one mistake. And say, I don't need a mistake. I've already told that young child, this isn't where we're being. 5 numbers, you're both going to come back feeling great. Again, never embarrassed, feeling better than we woke up this morning, maybe better than this entire week. 5, 4, at your own pace, your eyes will open. 3, 2, sitting up very comfortably with a deep breath in and allow yourself to come back wide awake. Brian and Adam, what did that feel like as observers? Honest critique and opinion.
I felt very relaxed by it.
Same.
And I was also thinking, I got a massage last weekend, and I realized that, like, we don't do enough of this, but having somebody just sort of guide you, you know, like, I was thinking about, like, pre-massage. Like, I was like, I would pay $30 if you never put your hands on me. Like, you just went in and then went, like, get undressed and lay down under this thing, put your face down, put your face through the donut, just lay there. And then they come in and they start talking to you in this sort of soothing voice. And they want to know if there's any. It's like all of a sudden, like, being handled almost emotionally. You know what I mean? Not physically bent or contorted.
It's kind of what Reiki is, right? Just putting your hands over someone. It's just, you know, the energy.
Yeah, just as simple, like, it's a weird thing. Like, anyone who ever gets their hair cut, just them, like, buzzing the back of your neck a little bit. Like somebody else's hands on you, and not in a sexual way, just like putting a towel on you or telling you to lay down or whatever. It's like you're already, I almost feel halfway home.
Right. Well, think about your own life when you've tried to have a conversation with someone and maybe they're agitated, they're late, they just showed up, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, now we need to talk about something serious. The message is sometimes lost because they're not in a relaxed state. Like, think about the movies you've loved in your life. You've probably seen them in a theater because it's quiet, it's dark, you're isolated despite being amongst other people. You can concentrate, you're right there in the thing, as opposed to at home. You got your phone, the door, you know, the doorbell, the phone, whatever. You're in it, you're focused, it's quiet, you're suggestible.
Yeah, I'm saying for people who, like, worked with people who will put their hands on you, you can get 80% of the way via the phone with that same person, which is wild. But you just sort of lay down and you go to this place. And so what I was thinking about is, first off, you got to close your eyes. Otherwise, nothing's possible. But number 2, putting the cans on kind of helped too. But I felt very soothed by the whole thing, and I wasn't even the subject of it.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I've done that with people, and I've had spectators. Usually I have spectators there. I told Gina, if we do this in person, you're going to have pillows. And so there's a physical barrier because I've been hypnotized before. And I was like, I hope this guy doesn't, like, try to touch me. And, like, I'm a dude. Like, why would you want to touch my junk? So I don't know. How are you feeling? You're coughing.
I'm pretty relaxed, though. I don't know. I feel focused, which is weird. I don't know. It's weird. I feel weird.
Weird is a good answer.
Good, yeah.
Do you? What's a typical urge to smoke? When does it happen? What does it feel like?
As soon as I start to play that outro music.
Sun's up or sun's down.
And then I can go outside and smoke a cigarette after this show.
Before bed, when you wake up first thing?
Second thing.
How many do you go through a day? And there's no judgment.
About a pack.
Okay, so a pack a day.
Yeah.
That sounds like one of the extremes. That's typical. It's I go hard, or like I have half a cigarette at the end of the night, at the end of the day, and that's it. Like again, no judgment, but it sounds that's the betweens. I only smoke when I'm drinking, or it's a pack a day. So we're gonna see.
And it's excessive when I'm drinking because I got a bar in the garage and I smoke out there.
Yeah.
And you know, when you're drinking, I'm constantly smoking. So, you know, sometimes that goes up to a pack in about 5 hours.
Wow. Okay. Well, again, cannabis, great, love it.
Yeah.
Have your edibles, smoke what you want, but
sold.
I don't need you putting cigarette plastic into your lungs because I want you to have every 11 minutes you can. And each pack of cigarettes is 11 minutes times whatever's in a pack these days.
Okay. Gina, any final marching orders for Gina?
Gina, what are you feeling? Where do you feel? Because it's you having the keys to do whatever.
Yeah, no, I actually got a lot out of what you did with Dawson because I was very, very relaxed and sort of listening passively and very invigorated by the idea of that psychological time travel. And that's an idea that, you know, in some types of therapy, it's used and it works or it doesn't. But the idea of when it comes to habits and breaking habits through that time travel is it's just very invigorating. And it feels very hopeful to me for multiple reasons.
Good. I'm glad. Yeah. You know, we could do another phone call and it'd be, all right, let's go back in time to the first time you had any anxiety flying. And let's do one more and tell me the first time you felt torn, for lack of a better term, when there was a conflict. All right. Now see that as a picture and that's black and white. And now it's just something that's happening in a movie theater and not happening to you. It's much easier that way.
All right. Well, Gina's got to do the news.
Let's do that.
Dawson's got to push some potentiometers around. So why don't we take a quick break, and Chris, you can hang out, and we'll do the new and improved news with Gina Grad, and we'll be right back after this.
Man, I feel more relaxed than when Dan Dunn comes on. So kudos to you, my dear. Well, let's get into some news. The premier of the Canadian province of Quebec has announced that adult residents who refuse to get vaccinated against coronavirus will be charged a financial penalty. Premier Francois Legault said not getting vaccinated leads to consequences for the healthcare system, and not all Quebecers should have to pay for that. He said that levy will apply only to people who don't qualify for medical exemptions. He said about 10% of adults in Quebec are unvaccinated, but they represent about half of the intensive care patients. He didn't say what the penalty will be, but he did say it will be significant.
I was just thinking about this the other day, that it's so geographically weird that we're right in between Mexico and Canada. Mexico is just a fucking cage match, free for all. And Canada is more and more government and lockdown and rules. And it couldn't be, if Canada was next to Mexico, Mexico would get the bends. Like, we need us as a buffer to...
You'd have to go on a depressurization thing.
Yes,
before
we're like the depressurization between the wild west of Mexico and the new world Orwellian order that is Canada now. And it's just funny that it's like there's a huge chasm between those two places, and I feel like we're just straddling the middle here.
But it's kind of an interesting idea. And I know people will say, what about smokers? What about overweight people? But we're talking about that can all be spread out over many years and decades. But if we're talking about a pandemic that only exists in our time right now, I can see the idea of, all right, don't get vaccinated, but you're the one putting the stress on the system right now in the pandemic we're in. So you got to front load a little cash for that.
Yeah, I'm all for like personal accountability. I don't like the big government, but I like the part where you can't ask other people to pay for your decisions, although we do a lot of that around here. But I'm very mixed on this. I don't like the big government, the big hand of government. On the other hand, my feeling is like if you're going to tax the system and you're taking from the system, then no, I like living in a world where it's like if you want to put a bond up or something and say, I'm not going to tax the system if I'm hospitalized. But the vaccines were wildly oversold to everybody, and that's a big. Now there's pushback, and that was a big problem. The vaccines were going to cure. You couldn't spread it. You were somehow
immune.
You were immune, or I never figured out the part where if you don't get vaccinated, you're dangerous to me, who is vaccinated. It was a weird sell, but now seems like everyone's getting at least Omicron.
Yeah.
I'm done with it myself.
Well, I got some clarity on some stuff because I put my Adam Carolla brain on. And, when people are saying at the same time, oh, Omicron's mild, it's not that big of a deal, and the hospitals are overwhelmed. And I couldn't take that paradox anymore. I had to look into it because those messages made no sense to me. So, if you want a little clarity on what that means, this is the clarity that I got from, I think I was listening to the New York Times news podcast. I think that was the one. So first of all, like we've talked about with COVID before, a lot of people are coming in for whatever, broken foot, diabetes, whatever, but you're tested when you get there. And oh, by the way, you also have COVID. So that's being
COVID is going to be like fecal matter and cocaine. You can rub any phone, any countertop, any object, and you're going to find trace amounts of something. You know, when they
on
do
the hotel bedspread.
Yeah,
God, I hope it's cocaine.
They do that thing where every time they rub something down, there's a little fecal matter on there. So we're going to find some COVID in almost everyone who gets rubbed down. And that's what happens when you go to the hospital. So
that's a big part of it. But then here's where it starts to make a lot more sense. COVID patients, from what I understand from, these reports, go into isolation. So where a room could have held 3 people, it now holds 1 person. So when they say, this hospital is equipped for 400 patients, but we can only house 100 patients, it's because everyone's in isolation. Plus the staff is taxed, like physically, mentally. If they have COVID, they go home. So there's not enough staff to treat the patients. There's not enough room for all the patients. And oh, by the way, they happen to have COVID when they're there for whatever. So it's just it's like a bad Tetris of just a lot of bad little things. But I needed clarity on why are the hospitals overwhelmed if this is not a very aggressive strain in terms of symptoms. I'm
not completely down with the hospital's overwhelmed premise just because I've heard it for 22 months that the hospitals are overwhelmed. The hospitals are overwhelmed. The hospital, and they may be at some points, but as a general talking point, that was the big fear. We're going to overwhelm the hospitals. I haven't seen a lot of cases of it. It has happened, but it became this big talking point because hospitals being overwhelmed. I've talked to Dr. Drew about this. Hospitals have to, in order to maximize their profits, they kind of work on just as many people as they need to make a profit, but not more people than they need. So they're always at the edge of capacity all the time because that's how they make a profit. Now we have this whole thing with vax mandates and a lot of people going home. People are not wanting to return to work because of mandates. A lot of people testing positive. I've heard about them letting people that were positive come back to the hospital just because they needed the staff that much. But I'm overwhelmed by the hospitals being overwhelmed. That's what I'm saying.
That's what really matters. Well, you talked about Canada and Mexico. Can we talk about Canada versus New Mexico? Because I think it also makes the point. A New Mexico city has announced that it's preparing to install a baby box where infants can be surrendered just days after an 18-year-old mother was arrested for tossing her newborn in a dumpster. This specialized device will cost around $20,000 to install, $20,000, could be operating.
Baby box, good name for GSV.
Well,
number one.
Not that I'm aware of, but you're right.
Long time ago.
This could happen in March. Alexis Avila, that's the woman. She's facing charges of attempted murder and child abuse when 3 Good Samaritans found the baby. And the baby is now in stable condition.
These people rifling through dumpsters in New Mexico. Good Samaritans or hobos looking for some free food? I don't know. They found a baby. They didn't yell no time for backup and start rappelling out of a window or not on my watch. If you saw her put it into the dumpster and you intervene, I'll give you the Good Samaritan status. If you happened along the dumpster an hour later and like, what have we here? An unmanned dumpster? Not a Good Samaritan. I guarantee these junkies aren't taxpayers. But okay.
It's fair. It's fair. So all 50 states have a safe haven law that allows newborns to be dropped off at, fire departments, police departments. But this baby box, I am very, very curious.
$20,000. Does it is it warmed? It can sustain life.
That's what I want to know. Is it an incubator?
Is it like a mailbox? You have to check it every day.
And just
like,
there's
a baby here.
So that's where we're at.
It's a white flag.
Bad sign for a society that we've invented a box to discard our kids in. But thank God that box wasn't around when I was born.
I might not have the show.
What happened to him? He died in the baby box. What happened? He was suffocated by his sister. They piled his sister on top of him. He couldn't breathe. They need a 2-manner.
Just terrible luck.
That's right.
Double wide. Mm-hmm. So I'm sure you all saw this by now, but it is pretty interesting. It shows some real bro code friendship, and I have a video to go along with it. A short pass from Tom Brady to Rob Gronkowski late in the game Sunday only earned the Bucs 7 yards, but it put an extra $500,000 in Gronk's wallet. So they're up by 14 points with 6 minutes to go in the game against Carolina. Brady insisted on staying in, and now we know why. He wanted to make sure Gronk caught one more pass because there's an incentive in the tight end's contract that awards him another $500,000 if he hauled in 55 receptions. Gronk needed 7 receptions Sunday to earn the bonus. He got it. And here is a little video they put together, a little montage of Rob reminding everyone sort of politely that this needs to happen and then thanking Tom afterwards.
Needs one more catch. Yeah, they're trying to pull Brady out.
If I remember correctly,
do we have
there were 2
audio?
incentives he had in that game.
One more.
For $1 million.
If I don't get the 7th catch, I have to go get a real job.
All we got to see is Gronkowski get his catch here.
$500,000.
Cha-ching. Gronkowski has his catch bonus.
Tom, good pass, dog.
Holding, number 76.
You just got $1 million?
Yeah, I got $1 million.
You got $1 million?
76.
Oh, $1 million. But not 500.
Well,
I think
it's a half.
It was
It's a
2
half.
incentives he hit that day.
Oh, okay.
I think if I read it correctly, it was like a catch and like a yardage thing or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So his boy hooked him up. That was nice. He didn't have to do that.
Yeah, I don't know how old these incentives are, but I feel like everyone has one now, and they used to have them, but you didn't hear about them all the time.
Did, yeah. They had him when I was a kid. I remember talking about it in baseball up. They never talked about the broadcast. He needs to hit number 150 to hit, whatever.
Yeah.
That seems personal. Gauche.
Indeed.
Yeah, but football's such a team sport. It seems weird to give individuals whatever, but that's how you motivate people. No doubt about it.
Do you have an opinion on like attacking or the bounty for defensive players?
Oh, with the Saints?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like Bounty Gate or whatever we called it. What's it called? Bounty Gate?
Bounty Gate, uncreatively. I mean, that goes on with every team
Ryan
and
likes
every.
Gate.
I hate it so much. Every team and every single defensive coordinator, I'm sure, has done that at some point. It's just this guy got hamstrung because he got caught.
Well, the thing is with all the crazy rules about leading with your helmet or defenseless receiver, whatever it is, you now have to coach everyone in a almost different direction now. So many hands to the
I was about to
head.
say, accidental hand swipes the face mask penalty.
Yeah.
I don't want to sway the conversation too far away from this, but before I forget, because I know you love a gate, I can give you the best gate of all time.
If it's about water and they call it Watergate, I'm in. Or if it's about a gate and they call it Gate, I'm in. Otherwise,
it will not be topped.
Okay.
In the scandal, in the days of the Jim and Tammy Faye Baker scandal, it was called Pearlygate.
That's actually really good. That's actually really solid. I don't mind that at all.
Cannot be topped.
No.
Only if Elon Musk got into trouble and called it Elongate.
Oh, that would be great.
That's his joke. I gotta get.
Or Bill Gates. Gatesgate.
They're talking.
That's Elon's joke?
Elon tweeted that, I don't know, a year ago. Like, if I ever got caught up in a scandal, please call it Elongate.
Wow.
Honestly, pretty good.
I wonder if he's got a squire, guy punching up his stuff. I mean, if a guy's got that kind of cash, you can get half the guys in Hollywood for 40 grand a year just to be on call to punch up your shit. All right, let's do one more, Gina Grad.
Good. Let's go back to Canada real quick because this happened earlier in the week and I really wanted to get to it. A Canadian politician is getting a lot of negative attention after he tweeted a tribute to his hardworking wife. What could possibly be the problem? Well, Manitoba Cabinet Minister John Reyes posted this photo of his wife shoveling snow off their large driveway after working a 12-hour shift at the hospital where she's a nurse. He clearly took the photo from inside what was probably a warm, cozy house. We have the picture. The caption read, "Even after a 12-hour night shift at the hospital last night, my wife still has the energy to shovel the driveway. God bless her and all our frontliners. Time to make her some breakfast." So while he meant it to be the sweet tribute, people had a fucking field day scolding him for being inside his cozy, warm house and watching this poor woman in a Manitoba winter shovel the driveway after a 12-hour shift as a nurse.
Well, all you have to do is kind of flip the script in order to wonder whether you should be outraged or not. So if it was a woman who said, my husband worked a 12-hour shift at the fire department or something, and then or was a nurse or whatever, and he came home and he still has the energy to shovel the driveway, I'm going to make him breakfast. She would have then gotten shit for making him breakfast. So you don't need to make him breakfast. Let him get his own breakfast. So look, if you want total fucking even playing field and equality and everything else, then we must just flip the script. And if you flip the script and you weren't agitated by it, if it was the dude out there shoveling, then we cannot be agitated by the woman out there shoveling.
This is the equivalent to the Applebee's commercial that you love so much. The nurse who picks up the food while the dad's at home dancing with the kids. Oh, honey, you get baby back for us?
Find that commercial. That bitch gets up at 5:30 in the morning and takes the dog for a half a marathon jog, then goes and works her double shift.
12 hours in the fucking ER.
Then he's like texting her, "What are we doing for dinner? Like, where are you picking up?" And then she comes home and he's just doing the Macarena with his fucking kids. And she gets the Applebee's salad and he gets the double Baconator. Who is this guy? Who is this woman?
He's a king.
Ugh. She does so much.
I know.
Yeah, we'll let
Screw
Chris
her.
see if we can find that somewhere. I don't know where it is.
While he finds that, actually, since you mentioned the Baconator, do you want me to filibuster for a second?
Sure.
For Chris?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So a couple menu items. First of all, I don't know. Remember if Christy's still involved with Taco Bell.
Hold on a second. Did this guy apologize for his tweet? Or how did he respond?
I don't have it, but I think it's safe to assume. It's not like he said, "Fuck you guys, let her shovel."
Yeah.
I'm sure he
makes
didn't
her
say
happy.
that.
I like this woman. I really do.
She's got a motor. All right. Well, while he's looking for that, Taco Bell's adding chicken wings, so look for that. Also, beefy melt burrito, though not to be confused with the Bell Beefer. But Arby's is doubling down. They have something called a Diablo Double Dare because apparently people want spicy fast food. Very spicy. So here's the deal. It's chicken or roast beef with ghost pepper jack cheese, fiery hot seasoning, fire roasted jalapenos, and Diablo barbecue sauce. But in case that doesn't drive home the point enough, the bun is bright red. And they are throwing in a free vanilla shake for all of you who are down with the Diablo Double Dare. Not to be confused with the double down from KFC.
I don't like when the food turns into a frat initiation.
challenge.
You know what I mean? Like,
Same.
I just want to fucking
Same.
enjoy myself. The whole reason I'm eating is because I want to sit down and enjoy
Same.
myself. I don't want a rock wall challenge. Can you handle it?
Hold on, I got this, guys. Didn't you do hot ones?
Absolutely. I wasn't planning on sitting down and enjoying myself.
I know.
Yeah, that wasn't lunch. That was a game. That was a dare.
Yeah, I learned a lot about myself doing hot ones, which is people are like, what about the next day on the toilet, or what about the ride home? I was like, I ate whatever on the Scoville scale, 10 million on the Scoville scale, slathered hot sauce. And when we were done taping and I was driving home 10 minutes later, if you would have asked me what I did and I didn't know, I would have no idea. There was no remnant taste.
Nice.
There was no effect. There was no gurgling of the stomach. There was no the next day on the commode. That's when you pay the fiddler. It was just nothing. It was just nothing. I just ate them and went home.
You're an anomaly.
You
I
haven't
guess
had me to
so.
like grapefruit because everyone loves
We
grapefruit.
love
except me.
grapefruit. All right, we have the commercial. Sorry. Go ahead. Applebee's 3 years ago. I saw this commercial. It drove me nuts. Commercials shouldn't anger me as much as they do, but they do.
Mm-hmm.
She gets up in the morning, 6 a.m.
6 a.m.
Dog
Takes
is
the dog for
dragging
a
her.
walk, takes care of the family, takes a
Peloton.
spin
Goes to
class,
Spin class.
hugs all the people of color at work,
Dry
picks
cleaning.
up the dry
Dry cleaning.
cleaning.
Run,
Gets the text from the husband.
Run
wants
around
food. That's right. Picks up the Applebee's. Walks through the door. He's doing the Macarena with the kids. She adores him, and now she eats a fucking salad. Blah.
treat yourself, honey.
This campaign is called Supermom.
Yeah. Blah. All right, let's bring it
Indeed.
home, Gina Grad.
You got it. I'm Gina Grad, and that's the news.
Oh, yeah.
That was the news with Gina Grad.
Well, last but not least, there's Lucy. We're all adults. Some of us use nicotine to relax. This may be, after the hypnotizing, Dawson, the direction to go. You want to focus, you want to unwind after a long day. Lucy, nicotine, gum, lozenges, and pouches for adults who are looking for the best, most responsible way to consume their nicotine. It's a new year. Start off by switching to a new nicotine product that you can feel good about. Stuff is top shelf, high quality, and again, if you're going on a long flight, you want a little nicotine, or you want to just relax, or you want to quit smoking, you go with Lucy. If you enjoy using nicotine, you should definitely check out lucy.co. That is lucy.co. Use the promo code Adam at checkout. Am I right, Dawson?
I have to read this disclaimer. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. Remember, if you're interested in a better way to use nicotine, visit lucy.co and be sure to use that promo code Adam.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Chris Jones. Let's see. Let me give you a plug. Website. HypnotistChrisJones.com is where you go, and Twitter, Instagram at One World.
One word, CJ.
Oh, sorry, one word.
Only cool thing I have is the Beverly Arts Center, and that's January 22nd. Otherwise, HypnotistChrisJones.com.
And Tracy Beckman and Danny Heller as well. And until next time, Sam Carolla for Tracy and Danny and Chris and Gina and Bald. Say it. Mahalo.
Period. Good. Yes?
No.
Damn it. What do we have?
Now.
You can...
No! Ha! The first word.
Oh, wow. The first word is good.
Biggest day.
Wow. Wow. Crazy.
What did you say? What did you
I
say?
said now. I started on the next paragraph.
Oh,
That's
okay.
the first
Yeah,
word
the
I
very
could
first
see.
word. Yeah.
You can watch this on our YouTube page.